الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear friends, welcome to Idea Foundation Forum. As a part of lectures on Quranic philosophy of unity in diversity, topic of our discussion today is unity of creation. Unity of creation, comparative study of Qur'an and science. Diversity of Allah's presence and His universe, multiplicity of mankind and His great message to humanity all converge to a grand unity. Trillions of galaxies, stars and planets converge into a unitary system of the universe. Physics has given its findings as quantum singularity. Quantum singularity for the origin of the universe, popularly known as the Big Bang. Trillions of humans find their origin in a singular man carved out of clay inspired by Allah with His Spirit, Hazrat Adam. Allah sent His message that expanded with the growth of needs of the peoples of every messenger, reaching to its finality of prophethood with the arrival of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These were the facts revealed by the Qur'an long ago, while these facts regarding the man, the universe, and other material realities have been discovered by science in very recent times. The facts regarding the unity of command of Allah revealed in the Qur'an will be discussed in the next lecture. Today, we will discuss unity of creation, which includes all living and non-living things in the light of modern physics, and we will see what the Qur'an has revealed on these important aspects of the universe in the context of unity of creation. Today, there is consensus among the physicists, including Stephen Hawking, Roger Penrose, and other eminent contemporaries on the history of the universe, that it initially started exploding from an incredibly hot, dense single object of the size of fraction of an inch in the space about 13.8 billion years ago. This process was named the Big Bang by Fred Hoyle, an English cosmologist. Within a few earliest moments, the universe underwent an incredible growth surge. As the universe expanded, its temperature cooled so rapidly that it caused the dust of particles called quarks, Q-U-A-R-K-S, quarks, form into protons, neutrons, and atomic nuclei, the building blocks of matter or anything classified as the creation. Thus, about 500 million years after the Big Bang, clumps of gas collapsed to form very first stars and galaxies. For knowing the Quranic knowledge on these cosmic developments, a few verses are displayed on the screen. Please have a look. Dear friends, our solar system was born after 9 billion years. How many? 9 billion years after initiation of the Big Bang. Many scientists think that the sun and the rest of our solar system was formed from a giant rotating cloud of gas and dust known as the solar nebula. It has also been referred in Qur'an as reference is shown on the screen. As intense gravitational force caused the nebula to collapse, it pulled most of the material toward the center to form the sun. The sun is one of more than 100 billion stars in the family of our Milky Way galaxy. And it orbits around its galactic core roughly in 25,000 light years. The modern physics has developed a Big Bang cosmology model showing various stages of expansion of the universe that is displayed on the screen. Please have a look on it. So, dear friends, as the whole universe busted violently out of a dense single point of the size of a tiny coin, its energy and light also have a unique single source and origin. As the cooling of temperatures caused the dust of particles form into protons and neutrons, their collisions gave birth to deuterium. It's a gas, deuterium, an isotope of hydrogen. Millions of degrees hot hydrogen atoms got compressed together to form helium atoms. This fusion reaction, merging reaction, caused to release energy. Thus it became a perpetual source of energy and light of the stars and the sun. The energy and light received from the sun makes the life possible on our planet. All living things on earth depend on the electromagnetic radiation received from the sun. Transformation of solar energy into photosynthesis is the lifeline of plants. Lifeline of the plants. Practically all the fuels, such as gas, oil, and coal, are stored forms of solar energy caused by electromagnetic radiation millions of years ago. It's a long process. Since the mid of last century, solar energy is being converted into electricity directly by using photovoltaic devices. Likewise, photothermal devices are used to produce steam from sunlight to drive generators for multiple purposes. But it is significant to note that solar source of energy and light is not infinite in nature. It has some limit, some expiry. By converting mass to energy, the sun loses 4.3 billion kilogram of mass or 4 million metric tons every second. Just imagine. At this rate of consumption, the sun would last 10 trillion years before it runs out of mass, energy, and light. For seeking the Qur'anic insight on the creation of solar system, predetermined movement of the sun, and fixed terms of its life and its being source of light and energy, a few verses have been displayed on the screen, may please be noted. Dear friends, Albert Einstein gave us a well accepted theory of general relativity, which establishes the relations between mass, energy, space, and time. However, he assumed the universe as static, not a growing one. The view of a static universe was firstly challenged by Edwin P. Hubble in 1929 by exploring that the galaxies are moving away from each other, causing perpetual expansion of the universe, and that too in considerable uniformity. It was also found that the rate of change in expansion is related to the gravitational pull of the universe set by its average density. The known universe is just the tip of the whole universe, small portion. Raw estimation made so far by science shows that only 4% of the known universe, not of the whole universe, of the known universe comprises of cosmic phenomena of galaxies and stars, while the remaining 96% comprises of dark energy and dark matter. Out of 96%, 70% is dark energy. These are the realities which have been puzzling the human intellect since much before the era of Aristotle. Whereas the Qur'an informs this universe as a growing phenomena. Very little of it is made known to the man, while rest of it remains unknown or unseen as called by the Qur'an. You may consult 2 to 5 ayat of Surah Baqarah. In this respect, some verses have been shown on the screen for the study of interested friends. Have a look. Dear friends, Aristotle believed that all the matter in the universe was made up of 4 basic elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And his philosophy was based on the divisibility of atom, that atom can be divided. While science considering the atom till the recent times as the ultimate indivisible phenomenon of matter, found it the most elementary building block of each and every constituent of the universe, including galaxies, stars, humans, living and non-living things. Contrary to the stance taken by science, the Qur'an revealed the concept of particle without limiting its divisibility, that it can be divided further and further. However, John Dalton first found in 1803 a clue, just an idea, that an atom might contain a boiling pot of great energy within itself. Einstein confirmed this fact in 1905 in his work named Brownian motion. Another physicist, Thomson, discovered a particle of matter called the electron, having a mass less than 1,000th of the lightest atom. It was in 1911 when Ernest Rutherford finally showed that the atoms of matter do have internal structure. They are made up of an extremely tiny positively charged nucleus made of protons around which a number of electrons orbit. However, in 1932, James Chadwick discovered that the nucleus contained another particle called the neutron, Now there are three things: proton, neutron and electron. And this neutron had almost the same mass as a proton, but no electrical charge. Proton has negative electric charge. Electron has positive electric charge, whereas neutron has no electric charge. For about 30 years, protons and neutrons were considered elementary particles, the smallest particles, but subsequent experiments found further smaller particles which were named quarks by the physicist Murray Gell-Mann in 1960s. Quark, Q-U-A-R-K-S. Though science today views that atoms are protons and neutrons are further divisible, yet it is not sure of the ultimate elementary particles from which everything is made of. Everything is made of. Quantum mechanics tells us that all particles are in fact waves, and that higher the energy of a particle, the smaller the wavelength of the corresponding wave. It means that higher energies may be found from smaller particles. If this stipulation, if this idea could find a theoretical reasoning, Stephen Hawking hopes of discovering knowledge of the ultimate building blocks of the nature. This is his view. The verses shown on the screen refers to divisibility of atom. Verses of Qur'an shown on the screen refers to divisibility of atom, single source of creation, and also creation in pairs of all the living and non-living things. Interested friends may relate the scientific knowledge with the Quranic knowledge to reach the truth. Have a look on the screen. Dear friends, another mystery of the universe is that all the known particles in the universe are of two types. First are the particles of spin half, which have a round half, which make up the matter in the universe, which have the material substance that we see in the universe. Second type of particles is of spin 0, 1 and 2, which cause force between the matter particles. They help movement to the matter particles. The matter particles of half spin pursue the Pauli's exclusion principle, discovered by Wolfgang Pauli in 1925, which says that two similar particles cannot exist in the same state. It's very important. The whole existence of universe lies on this principle. Please give attention. I repeat, the Pauli principle says that two similar particles cannot exist in the same state. It means they cannot have both the same position and the same velocity. By virtue of exclusion principle, matter particles do not collapse to a state of very high density under the influence of the forces produced by the particles of spin 0, 1 and 2. Basically, the particles of spin 0, 1 and 2 represents the electrons. If the matter particles having half spin have very nearly the same positions, they must have different velocities. which mean that they will not stay in the same position for long. Now imagine, now you just imagine, had the world been created without the exclusion principle, quarks would not have ability to form separate and well-defined protons and neutrons, nor would these together with electrons be able to form separate well-defined atoms. As Stephen Hawking concludes in his book, A Brief History of Time. If there would have been no particles, there would have been no atoms, and there would have been no universe. This is the point raised by Mr. Hawking. So, dear friends, for the last a few decades, the theories of general relativity and quantum mechanics have been applied for defining the birth, configuration, and collapse of various constituents of the universe starting from the atom. Stephen Hawking and such other eminent physicists today believe that the Big Bang surged when the universe was infinitely small and dense. Since mathematics cannot handle infinite numbers, the general theory of relativity predicts that there is a point in the universe where the theory itself breaks down. This point is referred as singularity, point of singularity, point of singularity. Hawking also predicts such infinite density as possible cause of black holes and anticipated cause of the Big Crunch. What is Big Crunch? It is the extreme end of Big Bang. At the time of Big Crunch, the whole universe will collapse to a singularity. However, current research does not find the said two theories compatible with each other on the issue of collapse of stars and galaxies and collapse of the atoms or protons. Both theories have different view. Contrary to the possibility of collapse of a star falling victim to infinite density, such crunch is hardly conceivable in case of a proton, as we mentioned earlier with respect to Pauli's exclusion principle. The principle explains why matter particles do not collapse to a state of very high density under the influence of the forces produced by the particles of spin 0, 1 and 2, or you may say electrons. So, dear friends, the exclusion principle, creating uncertain conditions for the proton that let it escape the collapse, is in fact one of the mysteries of the nature, like the Big Bang, black hole, or the anticipated Big Crunch, as the Qur'an attributes such exclusions to the will of Allah. I may quote Ayat 4 of Surah Ar-Ra'd to understand such mysteries which are regulated by the divine laws unknown to the man, as despite his best efforts, he could know very little of the universe so far. As the man could know very little of the known of the material universe, likewise, he knows very little about the divine laws of nature. However, the Qur'an has persistently invited the man to explore the knowledge of the universe and the divine order, because Allah wants to see His servants well informed, learned, wise. Note the words of the ayat. And within the land are neighboring plots and gardens of grapevines and crops and palm trees, growing several from a root or otherwise, watered with one water. Mind this part of the sentence. Watered with one water, but we make some of them exceed others in quality of fruit. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who reason, who thinks. It means the same water brings different results because of will of Allah. So dear friends, in the context of chemistry of life, all organisms are made up of matter, 96% of which comprises of 4 elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen and nitrogen. 96% of matter. While remaining 4% comprises of calcium, phosphorus, sulfur, sodium, chlorine and magnesium. Water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. In its composition of H2O, one atom of oxygen has a negative charge and 2 hydrogen atoms have positive charge. Pictorial of H2O composition of atoms is shown on the screen. Have a look on it. Being fundamental to life, water is the most abundant molecule in every organism that caused life on the earth about 3.8 billion years ago. Being effective solvent, water salts sodium and chloride to form a fluid solution that sustains life. Every living cell contains water. More than 65% of human body is water, while about 90% of plant is water. Just imagine. It is a necessity for photosynthesis and respiration both. Photosynthesis cells of plants use sun's energy to split off water's hydrogen from oxygen. Hydrogen is combined with carbon dioxide, which is absorbed from air to form glucose for survival of the plant life, and oxygen is released as waste of photosynthesis process. On the other hand, humans and animals inhale gases from atmosphere, retain oxygen to be circulated through blood for sustainability of life, while carbon dioxide is exhaled as waste of respiratory process. It refers to another mystery of the nature. Allahu Akbar. As mentioned earlier, life was caused on the earth with the landing of water. With the landing of water about 3.8 billion years ago. 10 billion years after creation of the universe. Landing of water and matter from the heavens. Water being the source of life. Water to be a molecule of gases. Single source of every living thing. Procreation of living and non-living things was designed by creating them in pairs, and circulation of water through hydrocycle system for sustainability of life on the earth are the wonders of the divine order that the Qur'an revealed several hundred years before the science could discover them. Just imagine the miraculous message of the Holy Quran, the miraculous findings of the Quran. Some Quranic references are shown on the screen in this context. Please study them at your spare time. Dear friends, scope of the lecture is so vast and diversified that it requires great insight, scholarship, and adequate time for making a meaningful and comprehensive presentation. Conscious of these constraints, I have just identified a few scientific discoveries of the universe and the source of life with the intention to relate them with the Quranic revelations on these issues. Combined study of scientific discoveries and Quranic knowledge will open higher dimensions of wisdom and consciousness for knowing the truth about the creation of wonderful universe and its most competent creator more clearly and comprehensively. Allahul Khaliqul Bariul Musawwir. Allahul Khaliqul Bariul Musawwir. Some Quranic verses related to our discussion made today are being displayed on the screen for convenience of reference. Dear friends, we conclude our discussion here. These programs are recorded both in Urdu and English. Their videos can be watched on ideafoundation.com.pk website or its YouTube web channel and Facebook. Their written versions are also available on the Idea Foundation's website. Please note code number of this program Idea 2 R5 or lecture number 159 www.ideafoundation.com.pk. All friends are requested to subscribe the Foundation's YouTube channel for the benefit of this noble cause. Thank you friends for participation. Allah Hafiz.